Hey, First Pres, great to be with you. I hope that you had an amazing time. I'm sorry I missed Sunday and the communion meal, but I'm really, really glad we're doing those things. This is the month of March, and we have been reflecting on Lent. We have been processing some of the Psalms of Lament. Hopefully you've had a chance to read some of those. I know that I have been as well. And on an ongoing basis, as I've had conversations with many of you and just kept asking the question, as you reflect back on the last 2 years of COVID experience, what are you grieving? What is really creating sorrow in your heart, as it said in Psalm 13? And at the very same time, as we hold that space, what are we doing to begin the process of recovery? I know our deacons are working on setting up a beautiful thing. They're working on setting up a fund to help all of us in this faith community who might not have the financial means necessary to access therapy, which is a beautiful thing for all of us. And I'm going to advocate for every single one of us to find a combination of spiritual direction, therapeutic counseling, and good, healthy community surrounding us. So if that has been too much out of reach for you financially, because sometimes your insurance doesn't cover it, in fact, most of the time our insurance doesn't cover it, we have a scholarship fund for you that's developing with the deacons, and I just want you to access it. So hopefully as you've been thinking through and reflecting and crying out to God and being angry with God and being honest in that way, and I want to give us permission to do that, because the last 2 years, they have been really hard, and many of us have lost so much. Now's the time we begin to recover from that. And I've said begin on purpose, because it's just going to take time, and it's not going to be simple, and it's not going to be easy. But what is that first step that we are taking, that you are taking? In community, healthy community with others? Is it in therapy and visiting and just finding someone else to talk to and reflect? Is it in spiritual direction to get healthy spiritually on what is God doing in my life? What is God doing in the world? And how can I be a part of it? I want to encourage you this morning whenever you're watching this video, to take another step. Continue to grieve and lament and continue that loss and that writing that list and naming the things. For me, just this week, and asking these questions and having these conversations, I really was reflecting on the loss of my father due to not the disease of COVID, but the social isolation of COVID. My father was in an assisted living facility, and all of a sudden, he couldn't come to baseball games with us anymore. We couldn't see him. He couldn't go to meals. He couldn't participate in committees. His limited social interaction was the person who brought his meal to his room. And as the months went on, he emotionally deteriorated and physically just really failed to thrive. That happened during COVID and because of COVID. And I've been wondering, would I have gotten more chance for healing with my father had it not happened? Had he been able to thrive, and go do the meals at Casa Sandoval that he loved and be on the committees and be engaged in the building politics and all the things he would tell me about in our lunches. And I was sad about it. Maybe I missed a few more months. And so I've been processing that. And I've been doing it just little by little by taking long walks, talking to people I love and care about, talking to my community group, talking to friends, and saying it out loud. I want to encourage you to do the same. God is not done with this faith community at all. And this is part of our recovery. And then as the kind of light shines, if you will, I just did a wedding this last weekend. And as part of that, I said, we're meant to love like God loves. And part of God's love is that when everything seems darkest, when everything seems hopeless, when Jesus is in a cold, dark tomb, when the disciples are scattered, when it could not get any worse, that these disciples have staked their whole existence, left family and friends and fishing boats, resurrection happens. Hope is found, and an unexpected small spark of joy enters the world, your heart, my heart, and our faith community's heart. In the middle of that, let's keep walking together. That's our update. Hope to see you soon.